All right, so early morning, Sunday, kind of early, bunch of lazy fucks, but at the LA Summit where everybody's up now, got our coffee, and I wanted to do something, try something new, right? And the guy who made me think of it was Kyle, because when I look at Kyle's face, it never changes. He's got the same expression no matter what's going on. There could be earthquake, nuclear war. You just can look at him, he's going to be like ready to go to work or whatever. And it got me thinking. And last night we were talking this morning, but I've been thinking about it all weekend because I noticed that kind of stuff because when I was in Japan, which I talked about in an earlier episode, but a lot of people won't know this because there's like 5 million videos that are hours long, right? But one of the things I noticed when I got to Japan is I wasn't taken seriously. And I'd be doing a business meeting, I was like speaking Japanese, and nobody took me seriously. And I felt like they don't take foreigners seriously, this is fucked up. I got, I couldn't understand it, right? And then finally, somebody said, one of my friends said, you smile too much, And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, Japanese don't do that. So, basically we control our faces. We don't express through our face, basically. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I started to look in the mirror at my face. And at first I was kind of embarrassed because my face is very expressive all the time at the time. And I was just always, and I thought, I was kind of weird because I looked at the way Japanese controlled their faces and it seemed to me, you always want what you can't have, right? Basically, or what you don't have, right? So for me, it was kind of a maturity, it was like a mature man. In Japan, children and women express themselves more than men. There's a big difference. So it's okay for women to express themselves. But there's also, women also have this too, for sure. For sure. It's going to be more subtle, but there's very strict rules for, among women, how to express your face, right? But it's looser than men. Women are allowed to express a lot of emotion with their face and with their voice, right? But men are not in Japan, right? Especially in business, right? And especially if you're a serious person, right? So even if you're drinking, unless you're drinking, then it's okay. If you're drinking, then if you're drunk, if everybody's drunk in Japan, you can just do whatever you want. So that's why they love drinking, right? Because you don't have to act Japanese for a little bit. A couple hours after work, you can let loose, right? So anyway, got me thinking. We all have ways of being, right? Jay's got his way of being, very different, right, than everybody else here. Everybody's got a totally different way. But what you guys, I'm guessing, probably have never done is try to be another person. Try to change your basic expressions and basically control of your the communication that you send out to people, right? And you're similar. You always have the same look, right? It's always the same look, right? And the thing is I learned for myself, although at the beginning I wasn't happy about it because I was like, this is stupid. Why should I, But then I started thinking about it and, Finnish people, they control their faces. They control their emotions. And I always was kind of, basically Finnish people don't take you seriously, same as Japanese if you are too expressive. And also they don't like salespeople. Being in sales, no. Whereas to me, when I look at other cultures, right, I see Jewish people will be on TV and express, and the guy will have the used car sales or, whatever, selling, in the old days, fur coats and very expressive and no problem. My parents, if you're an actor, you don't even have a job. You that is not a profession to my family, at all. That's just a ridiculous clown, basically. That true. They're never going to say it, but that's true. That's exactly what they think. They're he doesn't even have a job. What is he doing? He's just out there being a clown. But other people are engineers and doing work, and they can't even understand. I was raised that way. That's totally what they think, 100%. But then I got into sales, right? And I didn't even mean to. I was driving to school and there was a new stereo store opening. It said hiring now. It was right across from the entrance to school. And it said I forgot what the hourly rate was. It was good. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect, right? I was going to this community college at my second year of school. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can work right here, make good money, and then school's right across the street. It's fucking perfect, right? And new building and everything. And I was like, this is great. So I went in and applied. I didn't apply for a sales job. It was just a building that was paying money, right? So I went in there and then I learned how to do sales. But as I learned to do sales, I realized I was good at sales, but then it was a conflict, because essentially, like my dad doesn't think sales is a job, like at all, like essentially not at all. The people that make the products, design the products, they're the only ones that matter, the product, right? And the salespeople, they're just scumbags in the middle, right? They're scumbags taking advantage of the engineers who are making the product, right? That's really what his mindset is, right? And a lot of people have these kind of mindsets. You don't even realize it, but it goes with your expression, right? It's like salespeople are expressive, right? And they're able to read faces and express and change. To my family, that's a chameleon. That's fake. So you can't change. That's fake, And so, these are mindsets that people have about expression. And they're very extreme. So when you meet people, you're being judged super harshly by these internal rules we all have, right? And I think men especially, my feeling is that men especially are clueless about this kind of stuff. We have one way of being, and we kind of secretly believe these kind of things. You know what I mean? Like someone who's too expressive, it's just like clown. And then somebody who's, too reserved is like not, they're not being honest or whatever. And my basic thing is this. Here's the thing. I could say, here's what most people would say. I think. They would say, Kyle, you're not expressing yourself. You're not being yourself. Learn to express yourself. You're too reserved. Like that is essentially you are holding yourself back. And what I'm going to say is this, I don't think that's true. Whether it's because of our families or whatever the fuck, genetics or whatever, we have certain ways of being. Like our kind of, the water goes to the level. Okay, so we all have levels, right? And it's really proved by science. Like they've proven, like just on a side note, but is people will rate their happiness and then something really bad will happen or something really good will happen. Like their child will die, like super terrible. And they think they're never going to get over it. But what's funny thing, they always go back to the same level of happiness after a period of time. So we do have kind of a set thing. So I'm not saying, I'm not stupid. You're not going to change. You're not going to be another person. And you shouldn't. Accept your level of happiness. Like, accept your level. Like the way you express yourself, that's fine. What you're doing is fine. But what I think is really valuable is to be able to change and experiment with another way. Very interesting and much more exciting than you would think. Because you're changing yourself. And when you do, you're changing the reaction of other people. And that is like, oh man, that's like, this is like a serious experience. And it's so scary, believe it or not, that change, essentially change in, like kind of change in status too. It's like when, like all those rock stars kill themselves, right? Why do they do that? It's because their status goes up and down and they can't handle the way things change and the way they are treated. And they don't know how to adjust. I've watched a lot of famous people. And I've also, my social status has gone up and down and up. And I've learned that it's one of the hardest things to do is accept a change in social status. That's why people commit suicide when they lose all their money, is because they can't handle their status is changing. So you have to be able to, as a man, when your status goes up and down, to say, oh, my status is going up. And what do I do? Who can I look to teach me to adjust to this new thing? Or don't assume that you know. You don't know, right? It's the people at the other status level. They know how to live like that. Their standard is here about the way people treat them and how they protect themselves and how they express and all that stuff, and the group of friends, how big it is, and what kind of people are in that group. They kind of know how to do it. And so that's why a lot of rich people who become rich don't trust anybody. It's just simply because they don't know how to be rich. And I've seen a lot of people in my own family, like close to me, become extremely wealthy, and it takes years for them to learn to be rich. Because, poor people think rich people are scumbags. It's because they don't know it's a different social status. You should be able to, you might become rich. You could be poor, and then you hate all these rich people, then you get a bunch of money. What do you do then? This happens all the time. I know somebody in Santa Cruz who they just hated rich people. And I asked her, what's rich? And she told me. And then she got a job making the rich. And she hates rich people, literally every conversation, just, and then all of a sudden she's rich. And I said to her, when she was gone, she moved out because she got a fancy house, moved out. And then, and I said, what do you do? What do you do now? Now you're the enemy yourself. Right? And I guarantee she won't be able to adjust, right? So I would say, I know how to adjust. I've learned. Because I've been watching this for decades. This is not a new conversation, right? I've thought about this a million times, and I've learned myself. And as people that were close to me became rich, there's a difference between a billionaire and 100 million and 10 million and a million and zero. There's a huge difference in all these levels, the huge difference. The group is different. The way you act is different. Your friends are different. Your power is different. And it's very interesting, That's why people, they get money and they want more money and you think they're greedy. A lot of times it's because now they're starting to see that as you go up, there's other things. There's different experiences and things. It's not just, it's so dumb just to think that everybody that goes up is just evil and they just want to be evil and more evil. It's that's just such a lame way to think, It's like when you get a raise at work, do you suddenly become more evil, No, not for you. You go from $8 to $12. That's just to cover the bills. You just got to get that money, But he goes up from, 100 million to 140 million or whatever. And he's just a greedy fuck. And he just takes, it's so dumb. Look at yourself. Just start laughing at yourself. The way you think, way we think as humans, right? We're right, they're wrong, we're good, they're bad. We have a reason, they don't. Their reason is bad. They have a reason, but it's fucking terrible, right? So anyway, it's all connected, right? So the ability to fluidly go, up and down yourself, and also to see other people. I think that's the other thing too. If you don't express, you don't express your face, right? But I'm sure it's difficult in some ways to kind of look at other people's faces and kind of understand, because it's you're not doing it, right? When you're doing it, you know what it's like. You're batting, right? And the guys, and you're at the batting machine, and you go to the 80 and then the 100 mile an hour. You know what it's like, right? But if you've never done it, it's hard to kind of make. Have you guys ever gone to a batting box with a really fast pitch? Yeah, it's really weird. You think it's going to be easy or you're going to be able to do it. Fuck, I can't even hit. I can't even get a piece of it, right? When you go to the top one when it's really fast, it's fucking insane. It's whoa, Yeah, but when you get in there, right? So what I want to say to you is that there's always more to learn. It makes your life much richer, and also it gives you new opportunities too, because you have control. That's what I want you to understand. It's you want to have control of how you change, and also understanding of other people at another level, and to work that muscle. You want to be able to work that muscle. It's not that you are fine. There's nothing you need to change. Now some people might find that to throw away the way they are. That is also very valid. You might find, I'm just doing this because my family did. This is fucking stupid. This is not me at all, right? So you might find that too. That can happen because just because of your environment, you might find that it's not a match, right? And you've known it forever, right? So that's possible too, but that's more unlikely. Don't assume that. Probably the way you are is just fine, right? And you're happy with it. You've kind of accepted, found your own balance and stuff. But for me, this was difficult because I always felt, my family was, kind of like people that express themselves were kind of like attention seekers, self-centered clowns. That was kind of the thing. And then that was the way I was, it being expressive. And so it's like really difficult because fuck, you don't even, especially as a kid, and I'm not saying they were doing that on purpose. It's just, we all have our viewpoints, right? And so I'm not saying I'm a victim or anything. I'm just saying just like you guys haven't changed, like other people haven't changed, right? And so they have their viewpoints, right? And so if you're inquisitive, you're going to want to find these things out. You don't just accept the way things are, right? So, have worked that muscle and understand other people working that muscle. And so don't, as you go through this, you won't write people off as easily because you'll be like, wow, that's a totally different way of being. I don't understand that yet. I want to see what that is, and the way you act, right? And so when I watch JB, like when you were in the club, the way you're expressing yourself, because again, you're doing it with your body, your physical, right? And your face, right? And your voice. So face, voice, eyes, arms, body, head, right? The head, movement, right? So those are all part of it. So, like the Italians are famous for using their hands. I use my hands a lot. I noticed that in Japan because I would always knock over something. Because in Tokyo, everything's super small. There's no space. It's the crowdedest city in the world. There's the most population dense in the world, right? So when you turn around in Japan, you can't have your arm like this ever, ever. You're going to hit somebody or something. Yeah, you learn to turn around with your arms close together, right? And then you just turn around first, and then you can you see if there's space, right? Because you're usually going to knock over something, and in Japan you knock it over, you buy it, right? Yeah. It's not like here. It's oh, that was an accident. Oh, sorry, sir, don't move. We'll clean that up. And in Japan, it's okay, that's 5,000 yen. At least there was when I moved there. Yeah, and so there was none of that shit. You broke it, you pay. Yeah, but it wasn't really that. It was you'd bump into some old lady or something. You feel stupid, right? So let's do this. Let's do real quick. Just can you, any insight into yourself? Think about what is your kind of basic expression. Right? You know your basic level of expression, right? So what would be something that you'd like to experiment with? I would say for you, 100% smiling. You never fucking smile. You're always frowning. Oh yeah. Your face is always fucking frowning all the time. What do you mean? Yep. And now the thing is, when you frown, okay, this is what you learn in PUA, for example, is chicks don't like it. They want you to, believe it or not, you have to smile. Because, and they trace it back to evolution, because if you don't want to be submissive, right? Smile is somewhat of a submissive move, okay? So for example, you see gorillas, and there'll be the big one comes through, and then the other one will smile, and what the reason is, he's saying, I'm not challenging you, walk on through, right? So yeah, so they do that. So it's showing that you are not aggressive. You're not going to attack, but there's other smiles that you're going to attack, right? So it's a subtle difference in smiles, right? Yeah, and that's we recognize 100,000 human expressions. We have the capacity. We see, and because that's how we survive. Because if you went through the rice and there was a smile, if you read it wrong, it was over. Rock on the head, and you died because you didn't know the smile. So those people that couldn't read the face died off, right? Because it's so, the guys, you have that moment where they're telling you what they're going to do or what they're thinking, and you have to be able to read that, And a lot of women actually are terrible at reading expressions. And that's why they always think guys are aggressive. They always think, they don't read, and they did studies of women that get raped, and the thing is when they had brothers, they didn't. If they had a bunch of brothers, because they knew, oh, he's putting on a big show of anger, but he's really not going to do anything. He's just fucking blowing off steam. And then the other ones are like, that's abnormal. Get the fuck out of here. And so that protected them from a violent assault, right? And so, that's very interesting because women will always say, like, they don't know, but if the statistics say, if you had brothers and a father, you will know how men express themselves. Men look scary to women, but we're not scary. It's just that they're lame. They can't read our face. It's true. It's true. I'm not saying that the person that has the problem is always the thing, but we are responsible, right? It's the same with us. It's like, you have a child, right? And you're in a dangerous area and you don't read the expression and they hurt your kid. You're responsible. You're responsible for knowing what the fuck is going on in the world. Wake the fuck up. You can't blame everything. Things are permanent, right? You have to fucking learn. You have to learn people. That's it. There's no excuses. It's not a trial. Life isn't, right? You can blame everybody, but things happen and you have to pay the price. Women pay the price. So smart women realize that. And they're like, okay, I'm going to learn something, right? And so that's super valuable. And for us too, right? So we're going to, great question.
Oh, I was just going to say, can we say what we think our own is, and then everyone else say what they think we are?
That's good. Go ahead and say it yourself. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Just real quick, because we got to get Gabe it pretty. We'll just like zip through this real quick.
I think I come off as like maybe a little too serious, a little too direct. I don't know. What does everyone else think?
The bad aspect of yourself, yeah. Right, you're not talking about the good. Right? You're saying like,
I could be. Oh yeah. I want to work on being more like optimistic, more grateful.
Oh, okay. With your expression.
Yeah.
I would say, you know what? Like looking at your face, sometimes you come off as judgmental. Wow. It's like this. It's like you're looking like, I wonder, like, kind of thing, and it's like, oh, am I doing,
something wrong?
Yeah, am I doing something wrong? So you might want to think about your family, and think about how they express themselves. And so with our expressions, we really copy our family. So you can learn a lot about yourself, not from yourself, just by watching your family. Next time you meet them, just watch how they stand, what they say, and then a lot of times that's the best because it's not you, but it's somebody so close and similar, right? And we just copy like monkeys. We just copy what our family does. Humans do that. We express ourselves, but at the same time, a lot of stuff we copy, a lot of stuff. And we have to get over that. I mean, I think I don't want to be programmed. I mean, I don't. I want to find myself in some things I want to accept, some things. And some things just for emotional or reasons, I might want to do something that's kind of finished just because I'm finished, even though, whatever, it's just like finished back, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, something like that, right? Somebody might want to play the drums just because it's something that the family, you know what I mean? It's of the culture. Right? Yeah. So, hammer. Yeah. Just go through it. Yeah.
What do you think you are? What do you think your expression?
My expression? I don't know, something like always in this kind of curiosity, wonderment or something. I'm not sure. I've not.
He's being honest. He's saying like what he wants to change.
Oh, wants to change.
What's not good? Yeah, that's the hard part.
Is that the question? But
what expression do you have that is not you? It's not right.
Oh, that's the question. Oh, yeah.
You're not experimenting. You don't have it. You haven't tried it.
What are you and what do you want to change?
Yeah.
Maybe for me, maybe I'm nuts. Like, don't come across as serious all the time, or maybe I don't know. It's something like that.
What do you guys think?
You're like way too metaphysical and spiritual.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not serious. Yeah. Like I can drop into serious down to earthness.
Like it's always way out here, and for you to balance that with just being grounded,
a little more direct,
like grounded,
and
balance yourself because you're. And I know because I'm similar. You're like way out here, you can't really connect with most people, or when you talk and just the way you express yourself, it's like really out there, which is cool that you can do that. But to balance yourself by just being like a normal human being, just super chill, like that's a really cool way, I think, for you to balance the way you come across and express yourself. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I've been watching you, so yeah.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's
Okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I think so. Basically, in a nutshell, so that make sure they can hear. Say, well, what in a nutshell? Too much of what? Not enough of what?
Just really far out and not grounded.
Okay.
Being, when you're really grounded, your feet's on the ground, you're present, you're in your instincts, you're not all in your head.
Right.
oh no, definitely not in my head. Not that. No.
So
It's not, if that's coming around.
grounded.
Yeah.
Grounded.
More direct.
I'm more like in spirit. It's more of a spirit thing.
More direct.
Yeah,
You need to be
but I
a
guess
little,
it's
Yeah.
more grounded.
a little more direct would be good.
Oh, yeah.
Or you mean like more
I think of more
grounded
Like-
in
breathing and listening. More listening.
Okay.
Yeah, less. I think that's a good thing. It's like when you kind of pull in, you're also not, when you don't express yourself, you're listening. So that's valuable. That's a skill. Just the ability to sit there, listen to people, not say anything, and just kind of, I understand what he's thinking. I understand, and notice, I think you notice people actually, but
maybe they don't see. Maybe it's like I'm noticing, but sometimes because I'm definitely good. I'm noticing and listening, but I'm also talking. But then the other person doesn't think.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Yeah.
You don't notice how people react to you. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
People will be turned off, and you'll just be going on, and you don't know,
I have the same
and you're just like amping it up. But people are not liking it, and it's like you don't know how to say, "Oh, I'm not getting a good reaction." Like, "Oh, this is not working." People are not stoked on the calibration. That's what it is. And calibration, that's like a big PUA thing too, is you calibrate based on the person you're talking to. And that's good for any social situation. That is like, this ain't working. I'm going to slow this down. And you're not becoming another person. Again, you're just experimenting. And what you find with that experiment will teach you things. I can tell you, I really learned a lot from Japan. That was super valuable for me because I was like that. I had no idea I would just go and then sometimes people would be unhappy and then other people would be happy. And it was just like a total crapshoot, and I liked the people who were happy, but I didn't know how to change. I didn't know how to say, wait, this is not working right. I'm going to change this, right? So, okay, so I don't know if we're going to have time to do everybody. What do you guys think? Who's like really, either you want to talk or you want to tell somebody else, right? Because I think a lot of us don't even know, Okay, let's do JB first because he was.
I don't really pay attention, so I have no idea. Like, what do you guys think that I come out as? Like, reserve or?
You're not reserved.
Well, what am I?
Mysterious,
Well,
mysterious and flighty. At times.
Oh,
Mysterious and flighty.
Flighty.
Flighty, yeah, like just like, where are you going?
like a bird flying around.
Oh, yeah.
Not
I'd say fun, but maybe a little too goofy.
Oh, okay.
Playful
Maybe.
goofy, yeah.
So basically, like an experiment with something like a business persona or a serious thing would be a great addition if you had the capacity to go into that mode. And it's everything. It's how you sit. Business mode is like you're more like, like I don't know who's sitting like more in a, let's see. Maybe he's sitting more like you're more aggressive. Like you're like, you're sitting like that. You're sitting like corporate. It's very safe. You got one arm here, one arm on the bottle. Everybody knows you're drinking water. Yeah, your posture is okay, but it's not too straight. You're not trying to fix your back. You're just kind of fitting in. It's like all good. Yeah.
Going on my report.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's going to the report. So maybe experimenting with what do you guys think? Experimenting
I
with.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You're JB. You're really knocking out of the park.
I think you can.
this-
I think you
this
can hear him.
playful identity of yourself is super adventurous and cool.
It's fine.
But at the same time, to then balance yourself right and develop that other side, the part of you that can be serious and just be fully present and be like totally there with people. I think that'd be a great way to balance yourself. So,
Right. I think part of it too is language. Sometimes you don't understand things,
yeah.
or you'll say things and I don't understand. You'll say them real fast, and then I'm just like, and then you laugh, but it's like I don't even know what you said. Sometimes when you're expressing, I would say slow down, say the word, see if they understand. Like, because this is what people do when they learn languages. They tend to, and I know because I know, I'll just like be in a group of Japanese people. They're all talking, and then I want to understand something, but I just blow it off and the reason is because there's just too much information. So I'm just taking for granted that's not that important. The main thing is understanding the main gist of what's going on, right? So people that are not good at languages, they just want to know every word, or they just can't do it. But people that are more good at languages, they tend to be just like, okay, I don't understand a lot of this, but I get the gist of it. Okay, here's what it is. Boom, right? And so it's a kind of a coping mechanism with the volume of information. So, so I understand not saying, hey, what the fuck did you say? Or what was that? I would say when you express yourself, if I was you, I would look at people and say something and then just see if they understood it. And if not, I would express it another way. And it might also include working on vocabulary or something, And also, too, expression, too, is a lot of words. You know what I mean? It's like when you express, if you have the same look on your face and you're saying words, people, most of communication, everybody always says, is your body language. So if I've noticed that too, you'll just have the same expression, like you're just kind of carefree look, and then you're saying words and they're super serious. They don't match your body language. And so people don't understand because they're like, wait, that's like super serious, but he's smiling and acting like it's nothing. That I'm just like, what? And so what happens with that is that when you're expressing your most deepest stuff, serious stuff, people won't take you seriously because they don't know if you're serious about it, So maybe whenever you learn something about yourself, don't think you know how to change. Okay. So what you do with that information, what I would say is okay, if it's true, if you find it to be true, yeah, but you think about it, it doesn't have to be true, but if you find it to be true, then just say, I'm going to watch other people for a while, right? Because what people do is they're like, I know what I'm going to do. If you're doing it wrong, you don't know what to do, okay? By definition, or you would do it. Everybody thinks I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. No, you don't know. That's the problem. So you need to learn how other people do it. And it's very subtle and difficult. It's like you have to learn. You have to watch, be patient, watch other people express themselves. When we go out today, you'll see other people express themselves and you'll look differently at them. You'll be like, okay, I get it. That she is this, and you'll start to watch people, and then you'll pick up what you can learn, right? So if you find something to be true, do not think you know what to do. You're now at an impasse. You don't know, right? Go and watch people. Not just like right now, right here, like not that kind of thing. See, when you're out there, you're talking to your family, you're out at the shop, people walking down the street, and just think, what do I really think of that guy? The way he's expressing, like, what do I really believe about him? And you might find, like, he's just a clown. And then you think, wait, no, is he really a clown? Like, am I, you know what I mean? Like, what? Is it just because I can't do that? Or is it because I don't have that ability? Because I think a lot of people would judge JB because he's, like in clubs or something, like when they see you, they're going to judge him and be, and kind of be confused. And then he'll have good results, like talking to chicks and stuff. And then they'll be angry or jealous. So it's like this kind of like, it's this terrible cycle of people just not at all knowing But actually when you see somebody doing something, you can learn from that. You can learn whether you don't want to do it or you can learn how to do it. So those are both valuable, right? Okay, so let's just zip through. Yes.
I want to do it.
Okay, no. I've got to go to the new person live for a second. You're talking. This guy hasn't said anything, and this is the guy. In the beginning.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys will probably agree. Correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely more on the reserved, quiet, introverted. I'm not necessarily saying maybe I'm shy, but definitely more on the quiet side.
And not just that. I would shave the mustache and get a cool haircut.
Yeah.
A new haircut.
New
Something
haircut.
you've never done.
Something else.
Yeah, just
completely different.
Look in all the magazines,
Yeah.
and go.
Yeah.
And then try something that's like more
Reinvent
radical.
yourself, yeah.
Okay.
A little more radical.
More out there.
And you would be shocked how much
Yeah.
a different hairstyle changes.
Okay.
Oh my God. With no mustache and a different hairstyle,
Yeah.
It will be very difficult for you.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Okay.
I found this out by accident. Because this gay guy, when I was in college, he came to my stereo store. And he said, I gave him a good deal on the stereo. And he said, I'm a hairdresser. He says, I want to give you free haircuts. And I was like, oh, okay, because I was like paying $5. And when I went, he would dye my hair. He would cut it a new way. Man, it was difficult for me. I'd come home with brown hair. And I was just like, fuck, And people would say, oh, that looks good on you. I'm like, really? And then the color would go away because it was so blonde. It was just 3 weeks later, it was gone. But it was interesting to cut, and it was like very difficult for me, like to go in there and not know what my new look was going to be. And it sounds so dumb, but women experiment with this when they're young.
Oh yeah.
And we just have my brother's never had another haircut. Never. And he's never changed his clothes. My brother's awesome, but he has never experimented with this. And my brother's super like cool guy, good looking guy. Like if he experimented, it would be very valuable for him, right? I'll probably send him this, yeah. Because it's very good to try. It's not just expression, it's like style.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, like definitely we'll try to do that, and I frankly I want to be more like you, Ronin, more expressive, more.
Well, naturally, because I'm the opposite.
Yes,
So you're
like
like, yeah,
the
I
exact
want that.
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
I learned that.
Yeah.
I learned to be more reliable
Right.
and trustworthy, especially in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's people, strong man, trustworthy, father, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So is there anything else like I could do besides the actual physical, or kind of like what you guys were saying about JB? Like I'm open to your.
I like your eyes don't express much, but your mouth does. I like that smile thing you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this when you smile, it like curls to this
Yeah.
side. I like it. It looks cool.
Okay.
And that's pretty expressive, actually.
Fuck, that's true.
Yeah, I would add that
That's
like
totally true.
you make people feel really heard. So that's something you can build on. Like it's not like all bad, like reinvent totally. Like
Right.
you make people feel really, really heard, and sometimes people have this problem where they make people feel extremely unheard, and that's huge. So it's not really anything to improve on, but like you're like don't change that.
Right.
That
Keep
is
that
really
part.
good.
Yeah.
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 Because you like somebody says an idea or somebody's developing a thought and you let them complete the thought.
Mm.
You're not like completing tons of your own thoughts, but you never let anybody else complete one. You let somebody else complete a thought. You sit and you're like, oh, okay. You let it sink in. You show them that you're letting it sink in. And then you respond in a way that's like sort of making sure that you understand what they're saying, and then maybe asking questions before you go into your own ideas or connecting it in.
Right.
The opposite would be like somebody who's like you're talking about one thing and then they just jump in, they interrupt, and they're like, well, but then there's this other thing that's like,
Right.
And it's like actually doesn't connect. You never make that mistake, so that's pretty cool.
And it shows on your face. Like I can tell you're listening and paying attention. So yeah.
For me, it affects me differently. Like when you're sitting there looking that way that you look, it makes me think, okay, I really got to make this a good talk. Because
Oh, too much pressure.
no, it's good. No, I don't like it. No,
Oh, okay.
You're listening. So I'm like, okay, now what are my points? Where am I going with this? And it's like you're seriously listening, right? So yeah, no, it is a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah.
It makes me not want to waste your time. For sure.
Right.
That's an interesting point.
But is there any other tips in being more expressive? You know, like just being on the face, on the eyes, or is this really just kind of hanging out with more people who are on that side of the spectrum, right?
I mean, I look at the artists, look at the singers, the dancers, the yoga, the people expressing their emotions more. The ones who do like what is that? Performance art. You know, like you come in and they're like a Venice Boulevard, right? The Chinese guy sitting there, floating in the air, or somebody will have the silver and he will like control his face and do this, and he knows how to, you know, express, and you know, and like you're like, oh, and you don't want it to affect you, but it does. Yeah. You know, it's like he really upsets you, the silver guy. You know, it gets in your head. You know, and like you know, that experimenting with that expression. You know,
experiment with like moving your eyebrows more. That's the other thing. It's like this is all moving here, but
Yeah.
it seems like your eyebrows like
The eyebrows.
like, don't move that much. So, yeah, like
Right.
experiment with like you know that
Okay.
can accentuate.
So the upper
Yeah.
Look in
part of
the
the
mirror.
face.
And that's
Yeah.
the mirror. You gotta look in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's what I did for Japan. I
Okay.
looked in the mirror and I'm like, because the guy told me I smiled too much, so I thought, what the fuck is this?
Right.
In America, it's kind of impossible. So I looked in the mirror and I'm like, God, you do look like a clown in Japan. You know?
Yeah.
Way in business, right? Now, it was very good with women, you know, so it was no problem. But I wanted, like now I was serious about business. I wanted to be taken seriously, you know. So I looked in the mirror and then I fixed myself by looking in the mirror. Because you would be, in a sense, we're all disgusted with ourselves at some point, right? Because we're tired of being ourselves all the time. Right? So when you look in the mirror, you're kind of like, fuck, you know. But it's hard to do, and then practice different expressions.
Right. I mean,
You know.
it doesn't have to. Like, what I like to do is I like to look into the mirror too and just make like a bunch of random expressions, like.
Sad, happy, excited,
Yeah.
everything,
Like-
frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can watch Jim Carrey.
Oh
Watch the old
yeah.
Jim Carrey
Yeah.
movies and the way he talks,
Yeah.
and like it's so opposite of you. If you just practice, like to do his voices, you kind of have to do the faces. I know this is with like
Voice,
comedians,
yeah.
because I think in a lot of ways movement. Like if you're very still, which is great for listening mode, but if you want to express yourself
Right.
and even project your ideas onto the world, people will listen to you more. And if you're more entertaining, you're more moving. Like
Yeah.
you really like look at how Ronin talks. Even the way he's talking about someone reacting to him, he moves back. It's very like fluid, and that movement captures your eye and tells you the story and gives you almost a understanding of the story. Even though you can't see what's in his head, he makes you feel like you do.
Well, what I'm doing is my body just involuntarily moves with the ideas.
Yes.
So I'm just like, yeah, you know, this has got to get out more. My hands, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But it works and it expresses
you're,
that
you're
idea
locked
fully.
in, you know, it's like it's just a connection between the idea being expressed in my body. You know, I mean, I always want to get better, right? You know,
Yeah.
but
So you can use your whole body to express.
Right.
So that's like if you really want to
Yeah.
be out there. But it's a really cool thing to practice, especially if you're super reserved or if you're more used to being shy or introverted. Like it's a very almost scary thing. Like I was saying, like I didn't know how to even dance, like how to move my body. And to cross that bridge, I think watching people and then practicing that, like in front of the mirror, practice that in your room. Like just, at first it feels super fucking weird, but over time, it becomes natural and you'll just do it automatically.
Right.
yeah, I think too is that like sometimes people have bad teeth. They don't take care of their teeth, so they don't want to smile. And then that is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because it just goes downhill because you get bad reactions from people, and then you're frowning, right? And then you just don't like people that don't like you, right? So then they respond to you and you don't like them, and especially girls. Girls, it's not that you want to smile. You don't want to be a clown, but you want to let them subtly know that you don't have bad intentions when you move towards them, right? So a little grin or smile, that's all. You know, you're not smiling, hey, you know, you're just like, letting them know, look, I'm friendly. And if you try, a lot of people will say if they try to smile for the first time walking down the street, they're like amazed how people treat them differently. Right? They're like amazed.
Yeah.
They're like, no way, I didn't even know. I didn't experiment myself, but I know a lot of people I've heard, and they're just like, I can't believe this. I'm causing this, you know. I am causing, because there's two things. There's yourself, right? And there's things that are damaged or embarrassment or, something that was started from a negative point or something that is not your family, is not you. It just started from something else, right? And you'll find that it doesn't even matter. Your teeth don't matter. It's all good. If you want to, what often happens when people experiment is then they say, well, fuck it, I'm going to get my teeth done. You know what I mean? Because they're like now smiling more. But don't do the teeth first. Like I'd say experiment first. And then say, man, I was doing this. If you find, whatever, whoever, is listening, like if you find yourself like, I was doing this to cover up my teeth and it was causing me a bunch of pain. And to be more lonely. And that's not me. That's not anything. That's just, I got to fix my teeth. Right. And it's just like girls, they get a boob job and sometimes it's very good for their self-esteem if they're very flat, because then they just kind of feel more normal or not, obviously there's other reasons, but a lot of times just like they just feel very, very self-conscious and you say, well, you have to fix it mentally. Fuck that. If you can fix it physically, fix it. Don't be this. You can't, okay? Physical helps. So when you smile, it has an amazing effect on people. You can try to like mentally, what was that guy in the Borg or something? In Star Wars that people had, they tried to, it was all just mental. Right. There was nothing physical.
Yeah, Spock.
I don't remember, but yeah, Spock was like that. Oh, Spock. You can try to do that, but it's not going to work long term. So, like if you want to be more masculine, lift fucking weights. It helps. Like it fucking helps. It will, you know what I mean? Like you'll feel different, you'll look different. And sure, it'd be nice if you could mentally do everything. But I personally think you can't. A lot of life is physical. Get used to it, how you look, how you present yourself. It is creating a narrative, And if you're creating a narrative without knowing, without being aware, and then not happy with the reaction, it's like your responsibility. There's no one else can change your expression. No one else. There's nobody that can do it. You're the only one that can fix that thing. There is nothing from the outside. Money, fame, nothing would help you. The only thing you can do is work on yourself. And I think it's extremely valuable, especially if it started from an embarrassment or something where it's not even you. It's not anybody. It's just nobody. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Kind of thing. And also, the people that have been doing things their whole life that are negative and they change them, it's like fucking sunshine. Because it's like they really get benefits. Because then you realize, oh my gosh, this is true and that was true. And you just kind of like so many things, right? But I think definitely like not smiling. Like I know for sure, this is why I like pickup is because, or cold pickup. Not that you want women. It's that you are taking your body, right? And you're going up to another body and getting reaction. Okay? That is very difficult on your ego. But it is the thing that will allow you to say, you know what? I'm doing something, I'm causing this. You go to the club and you don't talk loud enough. And you think they're ignoring you. They can't fucking hear you. They cannot hear you. And in a club, I'm not a club guy, but I know for a fact I learned to speak louder. You need to do that. Practice fucking speaking louder because it's so simple. One guy comes up and he's like, and the girls are kind of like background noise, and they just ignore it. And another guy's like, hey, I didn't even do a good one. But they have a real loud voice. And the girls are like, oh, what is that? I noticed that. It's louder than everything else, So you obviously can go closer to people, but it's more valuable. And any public speaker, sometimes the mic is broken. Sometimes the sound system's broken. And you need to project your voice, from your diaphragm. And so that comes from good posture, right? If you're slumping, if you're not, this all affects your voice. So, like there's the, what is that method? There's a method where you balance. You learned the Alexander method, yeah. And actually Jeffy, a friend of mine, he made a whole video about it, and it's really good. How to increase the volume of your voice, the depth of your voice. That's very, very valuable and very, very difficult. And it's frustrating because it's so difficult to change your voice. But I've worked on my voice a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. And I tried the hairstyles. I tried different types of clothing, smiling, not smiling, my face. So yeah, I've tried the different, things, and like also working out, not working out, and things like, I've tried, posture. Yeah, I've kind of tried a few things, and I'm sure there's more for me to try, and I'd like to try that. I'd like to know, from the outside what the thing maybe I'm not noticing right. So just try one thing at a time. Fashion is a good one. Fashion is underrated, and really, the only way you can do it, this is what we did with Sean. We just took him into a thrift store, and then we picked out new clothes for him. Because if you're trying to change your fashion, you can't pick out new clothes. It ain't going to happen. Because you don't know what you don't know. You just have no idea where to go. That's why you're the way you are. You just have no idea how to change. And you just like, I'm not even going to touch this one. I have no, Whereas when you go with people and they know you want to try new things, they're going to say, and here's what you're going to feel. Like if we take you to the thrift store and get new stuff, you're going to be like, no, not that one. No, that's not, no. And it's like, calm down, put it on, buy it. Walk out, wear it. Yeah, walk out in public and wear that new thing, and you will be blown away. Because I had a lot of different kinds of friends when I was growing up, and they would say, I would borrow a shirt from them, or they would be going to an event where you had to wear something, and it was just like very uncomfortable for me, and it was really uncomfortable for me. And I found out that, like, basically when I go to a store, the clothes that look good on me tend to be in the women's section, not the sizes, but colors, all that kind of stuff. The men's section is like brown, black, gray, you know what I mean? And I'm summer color. And so, a lot of times they'll have men's shoes and they're just like 3 colors. And then the women's, they have, all kinds of colors. And that's the one that looks good on me. That's the one that I can get, but I can't buy it. Because they don't even make it for men. You would think, listening to this, you'd think, oh, that's like kind of flamboyant, kind of gay looking. But actually, when I put it on, you'll see it's not. It just kind of fits. And it's like, oh, okay. You can wear different things. You're not some fucking box. You're just, find things that look good on you. And you'll see when you wear them that with confidence, you go out in the world, you'll find that they don't match some dumb, rigid thing that people say. Because it's not true. It's not true. It really is not true. Like, I'm serious. It's not true. People will not think that. They will not. They definitely, and what people will say is, like, you can wear that. I wish I could wear that. Yeah. That's what you hear. Is they'll be like, I wish I could wear that. And people really react. I'm telling you, they fucking react. It's so strong reaction. It's amazing, actually. I think a lot of guys don't understand this about personal grooming and fashion, is that it has a huge effect on other people's reaction to you, which has a huge effect on you. It opens up new doors, avenues. And sometimes you see it really clearly, other times you don't. Just one quick story. I was in Pensacola. I was in that thrift store. I think it was a Goodwill. Yeah. Yeah, it was a Goodwill, yeah. And there was that pink shirt that I bought. Remember that pink shirt? And so there's a certain type of pink that looks good on me. And there's other pinks that don't at all. But there's one pink that looks good on me. And I found that in high school. Because I bought a shirt, and then I was kind of embarrassed of it. I forgot how I got it. It must have been super cheap, yeah. Usually I tried new things because they were so fucking cheap. Yeah. It's like $2 or something. Fuck, I'll buy this. Yeah. And then I'm like, I shouldn't have bought this too bright or whatever. And then I put it on. I went to school, and all of a sudden, I got a good reaction. And I was like, and then after, what happens is it takes a few good reactions, and then you own it, and then you're confident in it. So it's kind of a process. But anyway, I put on the pink shirt, so I learned that it's people's reaction to you that will help you. And also, people are smart. So they'll tell you that doesn't look good on you. Yeah. And you think you know? Do not believe that. Put something on and ask another fucking person. Any random woman, especially a young woman, just ask. Or just if there's a bunch of women in the thrift store, you just put on something and just go to them and say, does this look good on me? What do you think? And you'll be surprised. Girls love to give you honest advice about clothes. I found them to be extremely honest about clothes. You know, and they're always right too. I swear to God. I'm like, it's uncanny. If a girl says it looks good on you, just especially if it's cheap, thrift store, $7, definitely buy it. 100% buy it. Don't even think about it. And then you put in your car, it's like some kind of nuclear waste. I'm never going to wear this. And then you find a time that you're going to wear it, right? And so and the best thing is just to put it on right when you leave. You just as soon as you leave the store, put it on. Start experimenting with that right away, because otherwise you'll never, you know what I mean? So I like to, in the store, I'll put it on, and I'll have the tag on, I'll lean over so she can do the tag, and then I'll cut it off, and I'll wear it out. And that's my rule. If I don't want to wear it on the way out of the store, I don't need it. Best rule ever. This is like the best minimalist rule. If you don't want to fucking wear it out of the store, you don't really fucking like it. Do not buy it. Best rule ever for clothes. If you like are excited about wearing it right now, that is something you want and you will wear. You know, and if it's not, you won't. It's like 80% of clothes. Yeah, this is 100. This is such a great rule. I've never heard it, but it's like telling you, do this. It's awesome, and you'll realize you'll be like, this is such a great shirt. I could wear it to that experience place and to that place, to that place, and then you say, do I want to wear it? Not really. And then you're like, but this doesn't make sense. Like, this is a great shirt for certain situations. And then you don't want to wear it. Never going to wear it. Just buy it. Watch what happens. It'll be in the closet, sitting there, you know, never in the dirty clothes because it wasn't worn. Right? And you're like, but that's such a great shirt, logically. But I don't want to fucking wear it, you know. Or you wear it and you kind of, it's whatever, you know. You're just kind of wearing it, you know. But with the things that you want to wear, just fucking do it. But that's after you understand something. So it starts with, so I put on the pink shirt and I went over, there was a girl, I don't know if you remember this. I went over to the girl and I said, what do you think about this? And she looked at me, totally changed. Like, do you remember, did you see that? Yeah. She wanted to fuck me, for sure. Like right off the bat, I'm serious. It was so funny. It was hilarious. She's like, oh. She's like, you look very good. She's like smiling, like, I mean, I guess she's in Pensacola. She's a little bit, maybe not getting as much. You know, she's not living in New York City, right? But anyway, her reaction was like straight up, like, you know, she's like, I want a pink shirt like that. And she was looking around and she comes up to me later and she goes, how come they don't have any good pink shirts like that for women? And you know, I should have fucked her. I should have, you know. It was a shame, you know. But anyway. Yeah, what I was going to do, give it to her, have her put it on, and then, you know, start hugging her. And yeah, that would have been good. No. What you do, that's too much. You go in the corner where nobody is, and then you get something physical going on. Like grab her hand, like real nice and soft, and then just smell in her neck, move her hair out of her eye, and then like put your hand behind her neck like you're going to kiss her, but don't. And then just fucking take her somewhere else. Just fuck her in the park or whatever, you know. That would have been the thing to do. It's too much pressure. It's too much. She wouldn't want to go in that changing room. So it's just like you just set it up, sexual. You're into it. She's into it. You're a couple. She just wants to get it over with, right? That would have been the thing to do. But I bought it. And it's the first pink shirt I had in a long time. You know, and I remembered. In high school, yeah. Girls love my pink shirts, you know. I had a pink shirt. I wore it all the time. And but I didn't know that. I felt like it was totally like people are going to get the wrong impression. And some guys would do that. When you change, someone's going to test you. They're going to test you, and then you have to like decide, am I going to go through with this experiment? Is this working? Because sometimes they're not testing. Sometimes you don't look good, right? So you have to be honest, about it. But like I say, if you go to a store, try it on, everybody's like, all the old ladies, they're like, you look good. It looks good on you. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then someone tests you, just testing me. Yeah. And then you're like confident in that new thing you're trying. And this is something girls are actually very good at. So you can actually ask women opinions about this stuff. You can talk about this kind of stuff with women. And believe it or not, like, women actually are much more sophisticated than us and flexible and experienced on this kind of action of expanding their types of expressions, experimentation with ways of being. And maybe it's because the way they are, like women kind of adapt to a man, traditionally, like basically they just kind of go with your program, when they're with you. Maybe that's part of it. But anyway, it's super fucking valuable. I found it to be super fun not to be what I was. I go back to my hometown and the surfer guys are all wearing the same fucking clothes that they wore. It's just like, it's fine. It's fine. But I mean, fuck, man. It's like you think maybe you might think surfers are cool or whatever. But to me, it's just like, it's almost like I'm going to lumberjacks in Canada and they're all wearing red fucking plaid, and it's like just the same fucking shit, It's like, try something fucking new, Try a Korean look. Like go in a Korean like fashion magazine. Try some new thing in there. I'm not saying that's going to be the thing for you, but like think that way. Try some new, Tokyo is great for this because there's so many fashions all over the fucking place. And you can just try something on. And also Japanese don't tie their self-esteem to clothes. So one day you're Harley, next day you're Hello Kitty, next day you're, you know what I mean? Like they're extreme. They're not the same person every day. And that's the thing I'm saying. You're not the same. You don't feel the same every day, but you're acting the same. So people are reacting the same. So I'm not saying be another person. In that brain of yours is some other ways of expressing yourself. Probably, right? And when you do that, so you're not being somebody else. You actually weren't before. So that's what I'm saying. You're not always, you know what I mean? So anyway, let's end it at that. That's pretty good. And if you think of any experience we can do, thrift store is the best to get started because so cheap, and you will not like what we pick out for you. Trust me. But we're going to test it. We'll test it with women in there. Yeah. But I think that's a great thing to do. And even if you don't wear that first piece, like we got Sean like a party shirt, that might have not been the best party shirt because of colors or whatever, but it was a good try. Oh, yeah, it's a good experiment. It's like you're just shooting at something, right? You know what I mean? You're trying. You're fucking with things.
Can I have one last thing?
Yeah, one last thing. Just end it on this.
Yeah, real quick. I'll hold that. As fucks. So I just want to also end with, don't think or believe that you cannot 100% totally change yourself, because you absolutely can. I used to be really shy, total introvert, and everyone in my family and around me told me, oh yeah, you're an introvert, yeah, you don't like going out. And then one day I realized, fuck that, I don't like that. I don't want to be that guy who's just always alone and like awkward in the corner or whatever. So I intentionally, like Ronin, started putting myself out there. I started even emulating guys that I thought were super badass and trying the way that they would do something, and found out that not only did I love it, I was really good at it, and that actually felt more natural to me. So I completely changed myself from being the super awkward, like quiet, wouldn't talk to new people guy, to the one who talks way too much. So just want to say, like, you can 100% do that, and that just took a couple years. I was just saying, fuck this, I don't want to be like this, I don't like the results I'm getting, so I'm going to try something totally different, and found out that I loved it.
And the thing is, you could do, like, for example, if you want to start trying something new, right? Look at his haircut. Do that. Grow your hair longer, have it on the side flipped over, and then try a short beard like that, like very well trimmed, like short. Girls like that. Yeah, try it out. You know, try different things, like that kind of comb over, short on the one side. You know, that's a cool haircut. Like, definitely is a great, because that's not the normal haircut, right? You know, I've tried with a lot of things. That was really fun for me back in the day, trying a flat top, because that was like, I had a flat top a couple times. It was cool. I liked it. It looked good on me, So try those things. Like, that's a good haircut for you. So the other thing is everybody's different face. So some people won't match with a certain look, right? But there's a lot of things you can do. Like you could try with those razor cuts in the, in the ghetto, right? The fucking razor cuts in there, like some leather in there. You can try that.
I did this.
I don't like things that are too much fucking work. So I like a haircut. Looks good on you. You don't have to do it very often. So that's the other thing too, is while you're experimenting, you might be spending a lot of money testing out, going to different, stylists. So basically what you do, let me just say, is you go to some place where they do cool cuts. Cool cuts for your, like, there are places where they'll look at you, especially in Hollywood and kind of around here. They know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter how much hair, it doesn't matter what style. They will have something that is new and different for you, right? And so go in and look at the pictures, look at the people, and if it looks good, and say it's $75, right? You got to pay $20, $95, right? And then just do one cut. And then once you have that cut, they've given away all their what is that? PR.
Intellectual property.
All their intellectual property. It's already gone. You got it now. You can just take a picture from the back, front. If you have a good haircut, definitely take a really good picture right when you get out of there. Because if you don't, you never will. And 3 weeks later, you show it to somebody and the guy will not know what it was exactly. So make sure you take good pictures all the way around if you do have a good haircut. This is what I didn't do for years. Every time I'd go in and try to tell the guy, and then he would fuck it up. Because for my hair, it's short. And this is not a good cut because I did it myself. I was running out the door to come here with my razor. But what it was, it's a subtle thing. But if this part here and the corners is not a little bit longer than this, then my head is round and it doesn't look good at all. Whereas the more kind of square, it kind of just goes up and more squarish, just subtly. That's a big difference for my look. And that's something I got to have, that kind of squarish. So whatever cut it's going to be, it's going to have that. So too round is not going to look good on my head, And you might look something square, or you know what I mean? Like that might help, because especially, it just depends on your jaw. So a really, really, really good guy, most haircutters are total shit, even if they're like $1 million haircuts. They can't look at different people. They only know one style, whatever is fashionable. If you can, it's kind of a miracle if you find a genius. But if you can find a genius, he can look at everybody and say, for you, this would be good. Try this. This or this or this. For you, this or this or this. And then you can try those 3 things. So if you can find a genius, and they do exist, just try to say, hey, what possible cuts could I have? Like for my style, and then usually they'll say, well, this is popular. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about, right? It has nothing to do with being popular. It all has to do with the shape of your jaw, neck, face, hair, ears, everything, right? And they'll know that's a good cut on you, right? So don't think that's going to be a good cut on you. So it's going to, your face is kind of long and tall. So maybe that is. It might.
I have a similar thing.
Yeah.
My head kind of goes in at the top, and it's not the best cut right now, but I found a similar thing. Like, if they shave it all the way up, it looks a little goofy, but if I usually have a little bit more hair, like it's a little high, it's a little more like that, it fills out. It gets like a full face versus like a long oval. So you're totally right.
Right.
The littlest details actually matter a lot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like I used to be frustrated because
Totally different.
I would go in and tell them what I want, and it would be perfect.
Yeah.
And I'd leave. I was like, this is great. And I'd go to the other guy, and it was already short. He's like, oh yeah, if you once you have your haircut, if you go in and say, hey, do this, and the guy says, well, and he has any objections, leave. Don't do it. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I would go in and say, hey, can you cut this like this? And he'd say, well, your hair is already short. It means he doesn't understand. And if you let him cut it, he just doesn't know. He's totally blind.
Yeah.
And he's going to do a terrible job. So anytime he doesn't know what you're talking about, don't get angry. Don't try to explain it. Just leave. Just say, oh, I'm sorry, I got to go to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just do that. Just what, you don't want to piss the guy off. Yeah. Just like, oh shit, I got to go.
Walk out. Yep.
I'll come, see you, gone. Yeah. Because he doesn't know.
And those are the ones that piss you off the most when you get that haircut that ruins it.
Especially if you know what it
Dude,
is.
and like
And then he fucks it up.
Fuck your hair up for months to a year if you had a long cut and do a high part or whatever. So listen to Ronin.
But generally though too is don't be afraid. Like it grows back fast. Yeah, it grows back fast. So especially if it's not really long, it grows back fast. So anyway, let's end there and let's get Gabe on the line.